Hey guys, economics with Tony Delo. Repatriation, another part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. A same recycled idea that has been tried before under George W. Bush under the American Job Creation Act of 2004. The theory said that if you repatriate home income at a reduced rate such as 5% or under 5%, then these corporations will go out and invest and use some money to create jobs. But in reality, they use that money to help repair their balance sheets and to serve the shareholders versus creating jobs and giving workers higher wages, something that our economy is lacking a lot today. But first, let me be clear. This is an idea under the big business leaning Bill Clinton, responsible for NAFTA and the loss of aggregate demand in the American economy. That is the reason why today we can't grow at 5-6% like we did in the 50s and the 60s. It is because all of our good paying jobs got shipped overseas, and we are facing ever rising healthcare premiums, student loans, a collapsing American economy. Bill Clinton agreed with the idea of repatriation. He supported it a lot. He said, let's broaden the base and cut the corporate tax rate. And we're going to see higher revenues in the government through more jobs and investment. That's going to result in more opportunities to make money and increase the base. He said the corporate tax rate was uncompetitive, saying we should cut the rate to 25% or whatever's competitive and eliminate a lot of deductions so that we still get a fair amount of revenue and there's not so much variance in what the corporations pay. Let me be clear, Bill Clinton supported repatriation, but it is the same recycled idea that failed. No jobs were created following repatriation of income, following the American Jobs Creation Act. Under the Republicans, under the GOP, all it was ever designed to do was serve the wealthy and the shareholders. According to Congressional Research Service, a congressional nonpartisan think tank, they said in a report, while empirical evidence is clear that this provision resulted in a significant increase in repatriate earnings, empirical evidence is unable to show a corresponding increase in domestic investment or employment. In other words, it never was about creating jobs or investing with repatriation. It had everything to do with increasing shareholder value in serving the needs of the wealthy. The think tank cited a series of reports into the benefits of repatriation, but the common theme that the 2004 program was an ineffective means of increasing economic growth. In other words, it went right back in their pocket. Donald Trump, the con president claiming to be the man of the people, is calling on repatriation to spur growth in America.
We want to bring back trillions of dollars in wealth that's parked overseas. Because of our high tax rate and horrible, outdated, bureaucratic rules, large companies that do business overseas will often park their profits offshore to avoid paying a high United States tax if the money is brought back home. So they leave the money over there. The amount of money we're talking about is anywhere from $3 to $5 trillion. Can you believe that? By making it less punitive for companies to bring back this money, and by making the process far less bureaucratic and difficult, we can return trillions and trillions of dollars to our economy and spur billions of dollars in new investments in our struggling communities and throughout our nation.
Donald Trump owns stocks in a wide variety of companies. He knows the answer to this question. Obviously, some people are looking for return on investment. I can go see under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 if we're allowing repatriation of income under this act. But my theory is that once you scroll through the very back of all the thousands of pages or hundreds of pages in the act, I don't know how many pages there are, you may see a bunch of loopholes included at the very last second. And all these huge tax reductions, repatriation, may not be necessary since Trump and the wealthy in corporate America already got what they wanted. And once again, they did not invest with their money. 9,700 companies were take part in this repatriation, and it worked out very nicely for these companies, but it didn't work that way. They didn't invest, they didn't create more jobs. In fact, jobs are lost after this. Merck, which bought back $15.9 billion, cut 7,000 jobs, and HP pared its employment roles by 14,500 after repatriating $14.5 billion. So, this is going to bring some nice shareholder value to our company. Let's feed the greed even more, and let's cut some workers. And a bunch of these companies over here have ended up cutting jobs after this. They did not create jobs, let me be clear, after repatriation. Most of the money went to repairing balance sheets and rewarding shareholders, according to the CRS. According to one study cited, as much as 91 cents on the dollar went to share repurchases. Repurchasing shares, increasing the value of the share price for their company, even though that, along with compensation increases, were an expressly prohibited use by Congress. The CRS study said one of the biggest faults was that the permitted uses were overly generous and not explicitly linked to specific uses. And just to be clear, from 2004 to 2009, we had a net decrease in jobs. It had a big part to do with the housing bubble that set off our economy. The auto industry suffered immensely too, contributed to a lot of these job losses. Also, we've had a lot of losses in housing construction and layoffs after a tank in the stock market also did not help with this. So there are many factors that help contribute to this net loss in jobs, but the American Jobs Creation Act didn't work. Repatriation is not going to work. This is an idea that has not worked in the past, but I can quickly see if this was talked about for the passage of this act, if they wanted to repatriate income to America. Okay, you see it right here. One-time repatriation tax of profits in overseas subsidiaries of 7.5%, 14.5% for cash. U.S. multinationals have accumulated nearly $3 trillion offshore, much of its subsidiaries in tax haven countries without any offices, employees. The act may encourage companies to bring back money home over time, but at these much lower rates. And it will all be towards repairing its balance sheets and towards increasing shareholder value. A lack of evidence that repatriation results in increased investment in jobs. A lack a complete lack of evidence that this has worked. Want to create jobs? Increase aggregate demand for the economy, increase wages, increase consumption. Businesses will hire as long as consumption increases. If you diversified your portfolio, then under economy with increased aggregate demand, then you should see a higher rate of return under those means. Repatriation has been tried before, does not work. It did not trickle down as they said they would under the Bush administration, and what they're saying today under Donald Trump's administration. When you don't learn from history, when you don't look at the facts and the evidence, the outcomes are bound to repeat themselves when tried over and over again.